Elizabeth Perkins is the roommate Joan. And Joan is a caustic character who also teaches school. And I mention this because when we see you with the little girl in kindergarten, you're not the character maybe we've been set up not to like.
True.
How much stuff did you do in schools? Was there any left on the cutting room floor? Did we see more of you? I'd like to have seen more of that part of Joan.
Yeah, so would I have actually. It's interesting because it's, for me, the only time that you really see the heart and soul of this woman. That and in a couple of scenes with Debbie in their apartment when she's really opening up.
Yeah, I was expecting you maybe to get angry at the little girl, but you just melted, you were there with her.
It's because none of her defenses are down, you know, when she's with the children. She's in control then. She feels like she's running the show, and she can trust them. They're not going to hurt her.
And when you see the shot, in long shot, as you and the little girl walk away, did you say to the director, bless you? It was a wonderful take.
Yes, it was a nice shot. Ed's a wonderful director.
Movie making, I know for you, is a completely novel experience, to mix medias for a second. Tell us about what are the things that amazed you the most about having to calculate everything in movie making.
Well,
you touched on this morning. It was fascinating.
I don't exactly remember what I said, but
background characters. Why don't we start with background characters?
You mean like the people in the scenes?
Atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting, as I said earlier, not knowing that every little minute detail in a shot is pre-planned and premeditated.
Those people just happen to be there.
The sunset, the people walking down the street. It was interesting because we had the experience of using both rain and snow in our movie, and to be on a city street, a crowded city block, and have the two-story fans blowing fake snow around you it's a wonderful experience.
Some of the best snow scenes I've ever seen.
They're real nice, aren't they? And they're all premeditated.
Penetrating another illusion of movie making. We see you throughout an entire year. How long were you on location in Chicago?
Only in Chicago for about a month, and then some of the film was shot in the studio, which you would never know. I mean, the set designer did a wonderful job, I think.
Third weird thing about filmmaking, you had to learn to shoot out of continuity, out of chronology.
It's very
Any
hard.
problems on that?
Yes, because, you know, when you're on stage, you go through this whole range of emotions in, say, 2.5 hours. And to break up that time period in over a 3-month period, you constantly have to go back to your script and remember where you're coming from, what just happened to you, and where you're going.
Now, you knew it was going to be that way, but being your first film, I guess nothing can really prepare you for the reality.
No, you just have to really concentrate and constantly go back to your script to remember. I mean, because like when you walk through a door in one city and go to LA and show you coming through the door, you know, you've got to remember how you walked through the door, and so it's very interesting and brand new.
Now, you've grown up with a lot of theatrical background. Candidly now, your reactions to the movie making experience, is it enough to say, this is what I want to do?
Well, yes, because I loved it. I was fascinated. I sat on the set whenever I could and watched them light the scenes and do all the other things. But there's still the thrill of an audience on the stage that I'd never want to give up. I'll always go back to the stage and work.
So you haven't contacted your travel agent yet to go to LA?
No, I don't think I'll ever live in Los Angeles.
Are you still in Chicago?
The season's too much. Yeah, we're in Chicago.
What about the theater scene in Chicago? Because the play comes out of that context. What's going on in there?
Well, for me, it's the only town where I really feel comfortable. There is such a great support system of actors and directors and producers and playwrights in that town that you don't feel the same competition that you would in New York or Los Angeles. It's a smaller community, and therefore you know everybody. And they're like a crutch. Everybody is there for each other.
And the play itself, Sexual Perversity, did grow out of a Chicago production, did it not?
Yes.
What about that? Can you trace some of that history for us?
You mean the production of the play itself?
Didn't the Steppenwolf Theater do it?
No, the Apollo Theater, which was Stuart Oken and Jason Brett, who produced our film. And so here you had these guys who had produced the play on stage, who then went in and produced the film, which is usually unheard of. And Jim Belushi was also in the stage version. And when they did it as a play, it was a real strong ensemble group of 4 people, and that's really what we tried to achieve in the film.
Why, and I think I understand the reasons, but why, in your opinion, can the movies not do sexual perversity with its original strength and downbeat ending? What are the rationales as you perceive it?
Because it's such a dirge. I mean, the play itself is, it just leaves you with such an empty heart. And you want to see these people learn something. You want to see them grow. And in my opinion, the play didn't push them towards that. I mean, they don't get back together again in the play.
Do you ever despair, though, generally, that movies have such a difficulty portraying some of the more grim edges of life?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Usually the only films that I feel, I mean, my favorite films are usually independently produced and not from the studios. I mean, I love TriStar Studios. I mean, they're the best people around. They treated us like kings and queens. But I do think in a lot of ways this film, more than a lot that I've seen about relationship, really accurately portrays what's going on amongst single people in 1980, much more so than a lot of films I've seen.
But some of that nonetheless comes out of the contact with the stage play itself.
Definitely, I definitely think so. And the actors.
Any fearless Fosdick conclusions about maybe how important it is that the movie makers stay close to theater?
Well, for me, there are twice as many wonderfully written plays as there are screenplays in America, and I think that people should realize that and start reading more plays and getting their information from there. I mean, I don't know why either, that for me plays seem to be much more poetic and beautifully written than most of the screenplays that I read.
Even though the resources are so much more limited.
Right.
Yet the latitude for ideas is greater.
Right, yeah.
Gee, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, well, you phrased that quite well.
From here, with the film opening up, just a few seconds left, you go where? Back to Chicago?
Chicago and then to New York, and then I go to Wilmington, North Carolina to do a new film.
And congratulations on a wonderful debut.
Thank you very
Your
much.
Joan. There's a lot more to her than we first think. Elizabeth Perkins in About Last Night. And from Dallas for KCTV5, I'm John Tibbetts.